All right. Well, when Marge first asked me if I would be interested in doing the 10-minute talk, I thought, oh my gosh, what am I going to talk about? All these lovely people that are so smart and write books and everything. And then I thought, I can remember one of my sons saying to me, Mom, why don't you write down some of your stories? And I thought, oh, that might be an idea. And I thought, well, if I'd written a book, I think I would pick the chapter today that would start with answering the question that everybody asks us, always asks us, how did you meet Dave? Well, it goes something like this. I was in the middle of a divorce. My youngest son was still living at home and going to public school. And I had just changed jobs. And I went to a office cleaning company, commercial buildings office cleaning company. Okay. I was hired basically as the receptionist, but it evolved into many other things. Bookkeeping, and I mean bookkeeping by the big ledgers that you wrote everything in, and actually typing. And the typing was done on a real old-fashioned typewriter. I did all the invoicing. We had one lady that did, she took these steno notes and I had to type the stuff for her. And then I did some interviewing of some new staff. And finally, my boss got big enough and we moved from King and Simcoe over to a house on Adelaide Street. And on Adelaide Street, we got one of these new wonderful computers. Great big monstrous thing like a desk where you dropped cards into it, typed stuff, took it out, that was your payroll. And it somehow got printed as a payroll. Anyway, in answering the phone all the time, I got to know quite a few of our clients. And some would say, do you know what your cleaner did last night? She stole my orthopedic shoe, just one orthopedic shoe. Wait a minute, hang on. I don't need him doing that. Sorry, oh my gosh. Anyway, things like that. Or do you know what they did? They took my chocolates out of my drawer. But then there's this guy that would phone and say, where's Gilbert? Well, Mr. Gilbert was my boss, and I'd say, I'm sorry, he's not available, whether he was or not, because I thought, who's this clown? It's Mr. Overland. I'll take a message and he can get back to you. Okay, I've got a flood at such and such a building. I want Bell Beer here right now. And this went on for a long time. One day, he turns up at the office. I didn't know who he was. And it was just about lunchtime. Everybody was gone except the girls and I. There was 2 other girls and myself. And as I say, I had no idea who he was, and I was getting ready to take the banking to the bank. And Nellie says, David, have you had lunch yet? No. Well, why don't you take her to lunch? I'm thinking, oh my God. Oh, this guy's taking me. I don't want to go to lunch with him. When I found out who he was, I don't want to go with him. So fine. He says, sure, meet me out of the car. So I go storming out the door and I said, you don't have to do this. Anyway, away we went to the Westin Hotel, which is now under another name. And we get our seats, and it's one of these hanging rattan chairs from the ceiling. We have a 2-hour lunch. I get taken back to work, and I'm thinking, oh, well, The next thing, he finds out what time I do the banking every day, same bank he banks at. Started picking me up at lunch. I'll take you back to the office, or let's go to lunch. So it was go to lunch at Fran's and go to lunch somewhere else, something nice. And I thought, oh, well, this isn't too bad. He didn't, kill me or anything yet. So one weekend, he finally phones me up at home and he said, "What are you doing tomorrow morning? What are you doing on Saturday?" I thought, oh boy, I'm going to get even with you. I said, "I'm taking 6 of my cubs to the science center. Do you want to go?" Stupid man said yes. So off we go to the science center on the bus. As he said, "How are you getting there?" I said, "On the bus." And he said, "What, on a bus?" Yeah, 6 kids on a bus. So fine, everything goes well at the science center until we go home. Well, I see we go at the front, and if anybody knows where the science center is, you have to go up the hill to the bus stop. Well, I see the bus coming, sent one of the older kids to tell the bus driver that we're just hang on a minute, we're coming. All of a sudden I thought, where the heck's David and this one kid? I turn around, here he is way behind us with this little kid. Bus driver, in those days you trusted people. Bus driver gets my other cubs onto the bus, comes down and meets us down the, okay. I thought, okay, we survived that one. I guess he's learned his lesson. He won't do this again. Well, he did. A few weeks later, phones up, "What are you doing this weekend?" "Well, Deb and I are taking the kids to a father and son camp." "Okay, I'll go." Okay, so we load up his car, go to camp, and I get everything set up, the tents, the kids are settled. I'm in the kitchen, setting up the kitchen. Well, I turn around, here's David, and one little kid, who David's not used to children, of course. Here he is sitting on a bench with the youngest little kid, undoing a zipper on a sleeping bag. I could just see steam coming out of David's ears. And I'm thinking, oh, he's never going to do this again. Well, okay. That was that. He says, I just don't think I can do this. Oh, that's too bad. So another time, Deb and I are going to camp. Again, it's a father and son camp. And on the Thursday, David picked up a car, a used Cadillac, not a brand new one, a Cadillac. Loads it up, takes us to camp. And so this is Thursday, picks up the car. Friday night, we go to camp. And Deb and I get the stuff out of the trunk. David locks the car. And we decided we needed to put our purses in the trunk of the car so they'd be out of sight. Okay, that's fine. David opens the trunk, gives me the keys, opens the trunk. Where do I put the keys? In the trunk. Okay, don't forget the car is locked. Everything else is locked. Keys are in the trunk. Put our purses in, do our thing, go to shut the trunk. And of course, the trunk on this new car is electric. Where's the keys? In the trunk? Thank goodness we had some firefighters, 2 firefighters and a mechanic with us as part of the dads that were there. The one fella comes over to me and he said, "Bev, I think you and Deb better take a walk for a while." Okay. So we take a couple of the kids and we go for a hike. I come back and the car has been opened. They got in through the back door, took the back seat out and got into the trunk, got the keys. I didn't think I'd live after that one, but there we are. I'm still alive and kicking. And I think David, from there, he ended up becoming a member of the Jewish Scouting at the time. We don't have Jewish Scouting in Toronto anymore. I'm not in touch with it anymore. But after the chap that was running it passed away, the whole thing sort of fell apart. But David got involved with the Jewish Walk. And then, as I say, I think getting involved with scouting was how he has become involved with community things. And he took his training, and we did a lot of stuff. And as I say, that's basically how we met, was through work. And this terrible man that I really didn't like answering him every time he phoned, he was so, well, you know, David, he wants everything done yesterday. If it's not right, fix it now. So that was how we got, and as I say, through this pandemic, we're still together. And I'm so thankful that we are together, because I feel so sorry for a lot of people that have been alone. And that was one good thing about being with him through the pandemic. You've always had somebody to talk to, or argue with, or ignore, or whatever. And our little bit that we've been able to stay involved with this through the Zoom and everything, which I didn't know anything about Zoom when I started, like most of us. And yeah, so that's basically how we got together. And we were engaged for 30 years and got married 5 years ago. So there you are. I hope I didn't take too long.